Biz Markie and the Fab Five and the rhyme scheme, because it was that reflection of the classics of where music, just really brought me into where I'm at today. You know what I mean?
I feel you. Enough talking straight to business. Welcome to Beyond The Reverb. Beyond The Reverb is a conversation about community issues to inform, educate, analyze from experience and music. Building a community, that's what we're doing. Building a community of understanding minds to uplift, heal, and grow as individuals. We're just regular folks from different places. We just brought together through music to create an environment to discuss and have discussions to be taken out of our comfort zones along with the listeners. What we're going to be talking about, maybe not today, but in the near future, family, unity within communities, politics, veterans, etc., etc., etc. I'm DBrklyn. Anon in the background, you'll hear from him in a second. So I'm DBrklyn. I'm a leader, father, husband, son, brother, friend, poet, producer, and artist, in that order.
Hey, everybody out there, it's Anon. And so Beyond The Reverb is something that was birthed out of brotherhood. Me and DBrklyn, we go back to 2005, sitting out in the desert, Afghanistan. And from there, we just birthed a beautiful friendship. I'm an artist. I do a little production, something I do. Then I'm also a writer. I could sing a little bit, but I don't know if you want to hear it. I wouldn't say, I got those Chris Brown and Usher, type of chords, but, I do a little bit, grew up in the choir. I'm from Los Angeles originally. I learned my style out of Texas. That's where I really started honing in my skill set as a hip hop artist. I'm currently working on a project right now, actually 2 of them. So it's just definitely one of those things where we just really want to heal the community and educate the community on things that we believe that has been missed in order to foster a better society and a better world that we live in. So that's pretty much what we about. And we're just hoping that we're able to touch something that'll move you and educate you to get you to go into a direction where you're doing great things for society.
It's funny. That's funny you mentioned Afghanistan. Do you know how hard it is when you're in the sandbox trying to make music?
Yes, sir.
I mean, come on. I mean, you got things on your mind. You got people walking by. You might have headphones, but you hear everything. Everything.
Yeah, bro. I remember I came out there and I had that broken down computer. So I had to build me a new computer from scratch. And then I started looking at spending a little bit more money on, the equipment. So I spent about a good $1,500 on this equipment to get us recording out there in that little bitty, how big were those rooms? Like 5 by 5?
Man, it was smaller than a jail cell.
For sure, bro. So we did some good work out there, man. I like some classic work, man. You came by with those beats and I was just like, oh, snaps. Hold on, give me a second. I'm on my computer just writing up tracks and stuff. I was a little bit emotional. We ain't gonna talk about that. I was a little bit emotional on some of those tracks. But, I believe it was some classic work I put in.
Yeah, and can't forget them freestyles would set the tone for us getting back to our families and everything when we got out of the sandbox. Them freestyles is what set the tone.
Yes, sir.
Because if you haven't noticed, Anon has a wise freestyle evangelist. That's all I'm saying. You feel me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Salute, bro. Salute, man.
Yes, sir.
Man, I just remember, sitting there and you hooked me up with the new Fruity Loops because the Fruity Loops I had was old. And I'm sitting there like, man, how do I make production sound like DBrklyn? And I'm up there getting my little mix on but really, man, it just really came down to like testing you out. Cause my philosophy is if we gonna work together, you gotta freestyle with me. You ain't freestyling with me, you ain't working together. Because I need to know that you can do what I can do. before you
Yes,
sit here
sir.
and try to critique me, because you ain't got no credentials. You an amateur like I am, the way I look at it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, word. And my freestyle was horrible. The only thing I said is something about sand and shipping boots in the sand or some shit. Something. I don't even remember what I said. I'm glad that recording is gone. That's all I gotta say.
I feel you, bruh. But you know, that's the heartbeat of this, you know, Beyond the Reverb is. You know, you see how the joy we have right here? This is what Beyond the Reverb is, where we transcending things. And that desert was the connecting point of our destiny for us to build what we have today, and for us to, you know, go beyond this and actually go back to our communities we came from, so we can reach those who actually could use, you know, somebody to say they care. That's the way I see it. You know what I mean?
100%. 100%. Man, this music thing is something else. You know, Sandbox, back home, it was a different story. We was knocking stuff out. Now, family schedules and other things and all, it was, people have lives, you know what I mean? So doing music, it was still a little bit difficult, but it was a lot easier than the Sandbox. It's just different. And then, you know who I'm talking about. First Sergeant Tracy Ross had that keyboard. OPDS. He was like, come here, youngin'. You know, I was like, how old was I? Like 27, 28, 27, 26? I don't know. 27. Yeah. 27 years old. He was like, hey, heard you do music. Teach me how to work this keyboard. I was like, every keyboard is different, Top. How you want me to do? So I started messing around. I kind of got a feeling to it, but I didn't get a feel for it until we was back home. Once that, I got back to the States. About a year later, I got back to the States, bought me the same exact motif. Same exact. I already know how to use it. So, and I only made like, what, 4 or 5 beats on there? So it's whatever. You know, I just started knocking it out. Doing beat battles in Jersey. You know, did my thing. You know, still kept in contact. You was doing your thing back where we came from. You know, that's what it boils down to. Consistency.
It's that music that keeps me open. It's my drug, and it's so potent. It's that music flowing through all of my veins. I'm hip hop.
Yo, DBrklyn, man, I definitely feel you, man. Transitioning out of Afghanistan, getting back into Germany, and I remember hitting up Tracy, and we had what's his name, Bomb Hill, bruh, and we went up in his little, you know, makeshift studio. We were up there recording. I remember getting those meat and potatoes, and I remember one day, you know, I was back and I could eat anything. I said, like, give me 10 cheeseburgers to go with my meat and potatoes. Don't know what I was thinking, because I couldn't eat all of that stuff. And then we performed up in Oasis, you know, twice, and you had your son on stage. And, you know, this music journey is just like something that's like transcended anything I could ever imagine as an artist. Like, the journey was fun, you know, going to nightclubs around Germany and just performing. And it's one of those things, even though the audience half the time I didn't even know what we were talking about, but the fact that I was able to showcase my skill and talent, man, like what that does to a person's soul, bruh. Huh.
Yeah. It's on a different level. It makes you feel like a star without being a star. You know, I was in the back running sound. My son went on stage. I'm like, forget it. Give him a mic. Just give him a mic. Just let him go, because he was at rehearsal.
Yeah, bruh. Man, I don't know, man. It's just something about that. Been a long time. when Snake sent it to me. And I know Snake had his version that he did with Young Child, but I got some of the best feedback from that song. And people really talking about they liking the style, they like the metaphors I use, and the way I approach that is really for me as an artist what music is about, because I didn't just take the sample and start writing, oh man, that's hot. But I actually went back to the original sample, found out what it was, listened to it for about 2 or 3 weeks, if not longer, to make sure I could embody that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that sample set the tone for everything on that. Like soon, Sam Cooke, as soon as that sample come on, my son went ballistic, ballistic. But it's more than just the reaction from the crowd. It's more of the artist mentality. And when you get in the booth, had them headphones on, now you hear that sample. I got to do this justice. If you don't do it justice, it's not going to be where you need it to be for your sound.
Nah, I feel you. It's definitely a vibe. I was just working with Snake not too long ago, and he was asking me, what kind of feeling I want on this production that he was working on for me. And I'm like, bro, I like to write to completed instrumentals. Instrumentals that are about 75 to 90% complete. So for me, I don't want the instrumental to do me justice. I want to do justice to the instrumental. Or as Jay-Z put it out, your idea for as an artist should be to become a sound within the production track. And
Exactly.
so the only thing your producer should have to do at the end is add the Adlibs, add the spaces that amplifies your sound. But you as an artist, if you really truly appreciate that, you should be writing to the feel of that beat. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And with when you say a sound, one sound should be the same thing. It's a marriage when you're creating music.
Yes, sir.
I'm wearing this wedding ring. It's a marriage. It's one thing. It's not me and you. It's an us thing.
I agree
So
with you, bro.
that's how it's supposed to be making music.
Yes, sir.
Man, I'm not even gonna bring up other things, but we can do things in a certain way as artists and producers to get it to what that marriage is actually supposed to be.
Nah, I definitely feel you on that, man. That's the great thing, what I call the synergy of the music making process. And so that's why I say I always challenge anybody I work with who does not have the credentials to actually do what I do, because that way they get an understanding of my process and how I operate. And it's the way I've been, doing this, for decades now. I mean, if you put it in perspective, I've been rapping for 33 years, my own stuff that I've been writing. And, you know, I started off, biting, my stepbrother, he gave me this music, and I stood on stage on this little, well, not even a stage, a little platform at school on the playground. And our school was K through 12. And I'm up there spitting these lyrics, and they were highly inappropriate for a kid of my age, 8 years old. And everybody's like, oh, it was crazy, bro.
That's hilarious. That is hilarious. Because it's funny, like we started writing about the same time, same year, different age, but same year. I wasn't writing the songs, I was writing poetry, but it's all in the same, it's just a different cadence, it's just a different thing. I don't have, as a poet, it's a lot easier. I'm not gonna lie. It's a lot easier. There's so much, how do I say it? It's so much, uh, there's no limitations to poetry. It's not.
I feel you, bro. It's actually funny you actually mentioned that, because when you said that, the juices started flowing in my head like, oh, Oh, Langston Hughes, bro. That was my introduction to poetry on a serious tip. You know, my favorite poem motto, I play it cool, but dig our job. That's the reason I stay alive. My motto as I live and learn is dig or be dug in return. You know, listening and reading that, you know, he talked about life is, you know, life has never been a crystal stair. You know, that's a classic that they use that, I want to say, in Raising in the Sun. And are like, he had simple, really simples like, hey Albert, don't you play in that road. You see the trucks are rolling by, run over, and you die. Hey Albert, don't you play in that road. And you know, it's that really old Southern broken English, as we like to call it. But it just inspired me because not only that, but I saw somebody who looked like me, who was, you know, looked at as great in the realm of poetry. So it kind of bleeded over into my artistry. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like certain things and rhyme schemes. I started implementing that in my poetry and everything. And it's like, it doesn't matter what I'm writing, it's all the same. You know, if I'm performing poetry, it's gonna be different. They're gonna know it's hip hop.
100%.
But like rhyme schemes, I remember the first rhyme scheme on how LL Cool J rocked the bells. You know, this man took a rhyme scheme that I ain't never heard. He said, I've been waiting and debating for so long, just starving like Marvin for a Cool J song. You know, that whole rhyme scheme with going in the middle and then rhyming the word, getting the word at the end don't rhyme. I'm like, okay, where's he going with this? He's rhyming in the middle. So I'm like, man, this is it takes the element within, and I know why you're going off, because that's your man's right there, LL.
Yes, sir, man. I don't think he gets the respect that he deserves, bro. We gonna talk about music. I don't think he gets the respect he deserves, because when they talk top 5 and, you know, who's the greatest of all times, like, don't get me wrong, we're not gonna get into that conversation too much right now. But when we start talking about top, how do you not include the MC Killer, who's been like, you know, Black Dot, you know, from the conscious community said it in one of his lectures on Hip Hop Decoded, that when you look at the body of work from LL, do you realize he had produced a hit in every single decade since the 80s? A hit. Like, how, that's consistency that is unheard. Like Jay-Z, yes, he is as great as he is, but who's been doing it longer? Who is respected more in the game than that guy? You know what I mean?
Longevity is something that can never be matched. And that's, if you can't put certain people that just started, oh, he's the greatest. Yeah, maybe up today, you know, but we're not going to go in the top 5s. We'll save that for a later time.
Yes, sir.
You know, but the feeling into what music does to you, you feel me? This feeling, just talking about it. I know you can't see, my camera ain't that good, but the hair standing up. You know, just thinking about when inspired me to start writing. You know, what inspires you to do anything? You know, I'm talking, what do you call it? What job you want to get? Who you want to date? Who you want to smash? Who you just want to talk to? You laughing? I'm being serious, but it's all the same thing. You gotta know what you want.
So blame the Lord if I die young. If I die, don't cry, just ride till the light comes. If life is a choice, make the right ones. When your time comes, when the time comes, blame the Lord if I die young. If I die, don't cry, just ride till the light comes. If life is a choice, make the right ones. when the time comes, when your time comes. Dear Lord, why you made my life so hard? Got me sticking niggas up on Astoria Boulevard.
You definitely with that. And let's be honest, bro. We got to get back to this pulse, this feeling. Like, if you could transfer what you felt the first time you heard the rapper's delight as a child, the first time you heard one of the greatest MCs that ever touched the microphone and switched things up and rock him, just that feeling, what it meant to you, your life, your soul, and everything that you stood for.
That's funny that you mentioned Eric B. No Tricks in '86. It's time to build. Almost forgetting the lyrics for a second. That led me to home. Trenton. Poor Righteous Teachers had a track, Rock This Funky Joint. I'm not going to go into the whole meaning in the song and how they came up with it. But whatever. There's this 3 or 4 lines that stuck out. He says, step in, wise intelligent, sorry, big up Trenton. Step into the realm of my cipher, feel a different type of commas coming, slipping, stepping technique, 1200, hundreds massive by the ride, or a shot, should I say. He's asking me to rock, so I'm giving him the spot. This man, part of the 5% Nation, I knew very, very little, and it got me to actually talk to people, to find out about other cultures. I mean, I was exposed to it, but really didn't know. That's where it started. Rock This Funky Joint.
Rock it, funky. Joint. Yeah, I know about that track. See, that was one of those. See, I don't know what it is about me, but I've never really been keen on making out what a person says. I'm the guy that messes up everything when I'm reciting rhymes until I'm at a karaoke spot and you got the marquee going across and everybody's like, I'm like, oh wow, that's not really what they said. And I'm a product of the radio edit because grandma wasn't about to allow all that N word and MF and BIs and all that stuff was not about to happen in grandma's house. Like, I watched grandma take CDs and tapes and break them in her hand because she heard the foul language. But the feeling, bruh, that's really where it's at. Like, have anything like most of us, and it's the voice of the streets. It's the political. People don't want to talk about it, but it is the political voice of the streets. Like the teacher,
Knowledge reigns supreme over nearly everyone. The teacher.
Yes, sir.
That's what he's talking about.
Yes, sir. KRS-One. Yes, sir. And he's the one that birthed us in that direction for the hip hop. He's the one that kept us relevant in the realm of the hip hop and let us not forget from whence we came.
And that's how that's kind of what shapes your mental health. Goes to your childhood, goes to your relationships, goes to financial, it goes to self-esteem. And then you throw something out there into something else, like PTSD, it's a culminating factor where sometimes you don't know how to come back from it. These factors, I'm all guilty of it. But when I hear hip hop from my childhood, it takes me back there. I grew up not a wealthy family, not even middle class. So all that put in and then dealing with life as an adult, it basically puts you in a position. It's stirring up everything. And then how do you deal with that? You got to be creative. on dealing with your own issues within yourself. That's what I did. Music.
Man, bro, it's funny you actually said that because I remember it's not really in the direction of what you said, but it just reminded me of this young man that I had a privilege of meeting by chance. And it really was one of those meetings that you see somebody and you really don't know who a person is. And so I met this young guy. He's 21 years old and he's like a genius. And his name is George Hofs- Hofstetter, and he's out of Oakland. And it was funny because as he was getting interviewed, and I'm running audio for him, I'm listening, for the sound to see how he's coming across, and he was asked about music's impact on his life, and when he's out there coding and stuff like that. If you don't know who George Hofstetter is, I'll definitely tell you need to look him up because he's a bright young black man who's really trying to move the bar closer to the communities that we want to reach. And he's coding and he's walking into rooms. He's right now working a project with Bill and Melinda Gates. And I definitely tell you to check him out because he's about what we're about. And he talks about in his TED Talks his mental health when he's sitting in a room and he's the only black kid in that room. He talks about his mental mind state with an app he built that takes these single black kids who are in private schools, but they're connected across the nation called Connect the Dots that allows them this outlet for mental health to be able to escape the reality of what they're facing and be able to express what's going on because we don't even know it, but a lot of the stuff is ingrained. And so we escape those type of norms through our music because it allows us to be in a space where we can choose what makes us feel good. And that's the great thing about music. You know what I'm saying, bro?
Yeah. Key word, choice. Everything in life is done. Everything in life, you have a choice. Almost everything. Some things are out of your control. But that's where I leave it in God's hands if it's not in my control. But stuff that you can actually touch and it's tangible in the reactions within interactions, or should I say, the reactions on how you interact with others matters. And I'm guilty just like the worst of you. Sometimes I reacted the wrong way. I get in my emotions, get the best of me. When I'm not doing music, I'm in a downward spiral. And it's not just making music. Sometimes I got to listen to it. Sometimes I got to listen to it in a non-track. Sometimes I got to listen to an R&B track. We ain't doing no R&B here. We might have a feature somewhere and have them come in and sing because I ain't singing.
Right. Right.
From the stories you said about this brother, he's where it's at.
Yes, sir.
George Hofstetter.
Yes. If you haven't heard of him, he's definitely a bright young seed. And that's the one thing I like about what we're doing is because, brother, it allows us to not only talk to us, I won't call us old heads. We ain't quite old enough to be old heads, but talk to our parents' generation, those who are a little bit older than us. We can reach those that are a little bit below us, but then we also have the ability to reach out to those that are starting to come into their adult lives and show them that how powerful the music is and how the music can heal them at levels that they never even thought was possible. Like it's more than just going out to the club. It's more than just trying to catch a vibe so I can, get my red cup and whatever's in my cup. Don't ask what's in my cup mentality type, of mind state. But it can actually put you in spaces where you didn't know it was possible. Even as artists, it's a release. Like I had a song called "I'm Tempted." And that song was birthed out of a situation that I was facing where I knew my back was against the wall and I wanted to react in violence. I wanted to kill somebody. And that that mind state was changed because I was able to express it through sound, through production, and then through the lyrics I wrote. They melded perfectly because I wrote it first and then I produced it secondly. And I call it one of my greatest songs I've ever done. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Remember that track?
Yes,
You know,
sir.
I did my own healing tracks. You know, talking to God. It was a conversation with me and God.
Right.
You know, I don't even remember the name of the song now. I'm trying to think. I looked up, like, give me the song. Give me a sign. But now I'm trying to remember. When I said, now listen, I'm face to face with my opposition, but missing. Ain't no competition. I just needed to answer questions on my mission. Get desperate for me to live in submission, condition, kitchen, tradition, permitted, sin to admission. Now I will move forward to which I'm sitting. I'm stuck in position. I got my breathing all messed up because that song is old, but
Hey,
it was healing. It was
yes.
healing. I took that. That wasn't even supposed to be a song. That was straight poetry. I just had to cut words out. It was healing, straight healing. I needed to talk to God because I lost myself because I stopped speaking to God.
Hey, you're not the only one, bro. I think we all, at some point or level, we have been at a point where we had to have that conversation with God. You know, I did it when I was 17 years. I was between the age of 17 and 19 years old, where I wrote a song. You know, I'm like so many trials and tribulations, and I don't know why. Kicked out of school, and my daddy on some hope. You know, so many trials and tribulations. Will they ever quit? You know, in this song, I'm like, it's like a really intimate conversation of metaphors talking about God. Or, you know, I wrote songs where I expressed God in conversation so deep that people even was aghast by what I said. But it was just a feeling I had that I felt so lost. I did not know what was going on. And sometimes you just feel abandoned. You know, it's almost like we all know the classic of the picture of the footprints in the sand, and it's two, then it goes to one. But God said, "Hey, that's when I was carrying you," which really leans right towards when we start talking about
what I might miss. Are we just a couple of men sitting lifeless? Sitting lifeless. Every problem. I know I live my life, I should live with me. But they rise and hard every day. You can't see the getting things. I've asked to protect them, watch over me and my family. That we might see you at the pearly gates. I'm trying hard, Lord. But it's hard these days in this world we live in. Something's got to give, Lord. Let's ask you overseas.
got to give. Something's got to give. Something's got to give. This ain't no way to live. You know, we went right into that. I'm kind of clutched tight at night, despite the right. I fight the slight. So I might show who visibility to who I really spite without a doubt. Hold responsible for the situation I sit without. You see what I'm saying? Those are the struggles, the pain. But saying those things also allows you to heal through those things. I like to describe music in the same way even George talked about it in his interview with my man OG. You know, shout out to Pacific Push. In his interview, you know, it's universal. Like I go to Germany and there's guys who've been doing hip hop since my parents were young because they heard it and they picked up on it in the 80s and they started and they're huge and you never even heard of them. But I can tell you, like even Pitbull took one of the songs and, you know, Mr. Worldwide, and he basically redid their song, Pop Americano or whatever. And it's like, we don't want no American, what it basically translates to, I don't remember correctly. But he took that from a German group who actually did that.
when I look at an artist as far as what their talent brings, her talent transcends hip hop. That's the way I see it. You know,
Right.
that's my opinion. You can disagree. There's a couple artists, I don't remember the names, so it's like it's not even worth saying. You know, I'm like, all right, it's the same regurgitated things like that mumble rap. Not that I'm comparing it to mumble rap, because it's not. It's not. It's just
Right.
not.
Right.
But some of them artists, it's like, okay, didn't old boy just say that too? It's like the same song. You know,
Right.
I like seeing creative innovations within music. That's just me. You know, as a hip hop fan, I want to see something new. Where we gonna go with it? That's a whole nother show. I'm about to go off on a tangent on that.
Hey, it's all good, brother. You know, see, that's the great thing about it. You see how it made you feel and how it can carry you. It's like music is like a tree. It has so many different branches and it has so many different roots. It's not one root on a tree. Trees have lots of roots, and those roots spread out to absorb the nutrients from the earth. And that earth is fertilized by the things that fall to it and die and decay, which rejuvenates the soil. And so then you got that trunk that rises up and the branches start to come off and it sprouts new leaves, which absorb the sunlight through photosynthesis. That's what music is. It's that, like you look at church, when people get to singing, they start to praise, and what do? They raise their hands up like a tree. And it's the absorb that energy that we don't even see. And music does that to you. You know, I had a guy, he said, if you really want to know the true sense of energy, go to church and watch when the people starts the not the choir, but when the congregation starts to sing, and watch the energy you feel when they're really passionate. And that's what music is about, because you'll see people cry and they you know, their hearts, like even me, I get goosebumps, bro.
Yeah.
Goosebumps.
You mentioning you over here mentioning energy. And I'm like, yo, please say something about energy, because that's where I want to go. Everything had its own energy, whether it's potential or kinetic. What you gonna do with it? You know, you could be the hottest rapper alive or whatever. You could think whatever, but if you ain't in the right mind state, you know, in what you're doing, if you're there to make money, you're there to make money. I ain't gonna hate on nobody trying to make money. Never would I ever have. Get your money. I look at making music as an art. And just like everything else, things grow. Energy. You can't kill it. People say hip hop is dead. You kidding me? Hip hop ain't dead. It's an energy. And you can't kill energy. You can only transfer it.
Yes, sir. That's basic. That's basic physics, man. You learn that in science class.
Word.
Nothing can be destroyed.
Nah,
Nothing.
it's gonna be transferred.
Yes, sir.
It's gonna,
Comes
it's gonna
new.
go in a direction. It might not, it might be a little energy, but it's still there.
Yes, sir.
Something still
new.
there.
Yeah, bro. You know, we've been going on for a little while now, and I can tell you, I can see the passion that you have, my brother, and it's good to see that you, regardless of the conversations that we have, that I'm just glad that you can share to the world what you feel about this music and where it's taking you and how it's elevated your mind beyond the streets. Because a lot of us, you know, in the music, we're stuck in the streets. You know, I went from, you know, screaming, I'm not gonna even say it, you know, because it's gang related and I don't want to, you know, give off the wrong vibe because that's not what I'm about. But I went from saying the da 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 is scared of me, the da 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 want to hurt me because I called her dirty. Now they think I'm dirty. All I gotta say is the want to face me because I called it. Now they think I'm lazy. I went from saying that, I muted myself because I'm from those streets, and I know it has real consequences. I just came across, what that dude's name, Little Red Indian, I think his name was. I mean, the dude just got shot up on an Instagram live, not too long ago, young man, you know. So these streets are real, and he's an artist, young artist. What is his potential that was lost? You know what I mean? That we would never even know where he could have transcended. And not to go too deep into, because that's not what we about, but what was he killed behind? We don't even know, but there's suspect that maybe because he traded sex, maybe because his homeboy, I forgot his homeboy's name, he's a blood who hit up Nipsey Hussle's mural with his name. And they're like, yeah, I mean, we get it, but, Nipsey was 60s and, we have beef for over 40 years that, and these young folk don't care. And so one of the things I hope that through these segments and as we start to peel this onion back and these tears start to come out through our words is that we can figure out ways to make bridges to let these folks know that how the rhyme said by Mr. X, the bullets cost more. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, really?
Taking away dreams. Taking away dreams. And for what? I say getting inspired.
Yes, sir.
You know where I'm going to go with this.
Yes.
Afghanistan quote, dreams are interpreted in an unconscious state of mind. What you're doing when you wake up depends on inspiration.
Yes, sir.
Outside influences. Don't even worry about it. Do you?
Yes, sir. I just tell you, man, and I'm going to leave you with this. It just comes to a point where it becomes bigger than you and I, and it becomes about humanity. And as we continue this journey, you're going to hear me say a lot about humanity because we have to get it back to the human nature of everything. That's the way I feel, and I stand on that. And anybody who got a problem with that, they should go look in the mirror and take a reflection because we are human first. We all bleed the same blood. You know what I mean?
Facts.
And so I just really hope that I can just provide you something that's going to allow you to really just look at the perspective that is different than what you're used to.
But glitters ain't gold. But everybody trying to give hip-hop a new perception, going in every which direction. I've been in the lab trying to cook up a new prescription, a new conniption, correct a new conception of protection, affecting every woman and girl, boy and man sitting by their election. I know it's hard when I'm trying to around the BS to go on for so long without saying something. Nothing for nothing equals nothing, but something for nothing is how I come in. Enough is enough, it's time to switch your stance up. Start swinging southpaw and don't romance her. Not this track, hit this flow, clear up your cataract. Some might hate and call it illegal, but even the ego came back from Fido. Allow me to breach your heart, pierce your soul, sweep the start.
Beyond The Reverb, sticking to music. Gotta be some Adlibs. And on Adlibs, I'm bringing two of my other brothers with me, Fluid and Dr. Ken. What's going on, fellas? How you doing? How you feeling? You good?
Doing great.
Yeah, I'm good.
All right. I'm gonna pass the baton to Fluid. Get this thing going.
I'm Fluid. Along with Cam, we are the Adlibs team. What we do is make sure that the information that Anon and DBrklyn are given to y'all, we want to make sure it's correct. And if they say something wrong, we're gonna check them.
Absolutely right. And also our roles too is when DBrklyn and Anon can't make it, we might have to fill in. So we have to be on check too to make sure we provide accurate information to our audience.
So tell them a little about yourself.
Well, I met D Brook at the workplace. It turns out we had a lot of similarities by chance. And we always talked about music, and I always gave him a hard time about his beats that he should do something about it. And he invited me to be in the podcast and introduced me to you and Anon. And here we go. I'm looking forward to this adventure.
Yeah, I started making beats in '02. Dabbled in some engineer work in the studio. Um, through DBrklyn's connects, I got into beat battles too. And once, like back in the day, I heard some of Anon's music, and once I met him, I actually got to see the man behind those lyrics, and I learned a lot about him and what he's about, and I'm down with that. When all of us met together, like I saw new avenues for our music and like a whole movement to really take us places. Cam, can you recall the first time you have listened to music and heard or something with music where you were really moved?
Wow, the first time, that's a good question. I mean, I grew up in the city with salsa, merengue, but obviously with the city, there was hip hop influence. So for me, I would say the first one would be Nas, when his lyric was 2 sips from being alcoholic, 999,000 from being rich, but I'm all for it. And that was just it just stuck to me because that was the time frame in my life where I had to make a decision of trying to get out of the hood or make a career. So that always stuck with me and to think bigger things.
When it comes to music moving you, especially in the hip hop genre, it's weird with me. Most people wouldn't think that this is a moving song, but Naughty by Nature's "Everything's Gonna Be Alright," where Tretch tells a story about all the hard, just really times growing up in the hood, and like there's so much negativity, and then this positive hook that came from Bob Marley inspiration that comes and pulls it together to give a little hope, and that was powerful.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, since I've been working with you guys, I've been looking into different genres, except besides hip hop, and I'm noticing that there's some like topics and subtopics that is a focus in each genre. So almost seems like each music genre affects each other, and everybody's taking a little piece of their music and trying to put it in their lives. First, before meeting all, I met DBrklyn, and then later on I met Anon, and then you. But all the time, he was DBrook was always making beats and everything, and he was like, "Oh, my brother did this. My brother did that too." And I was like, "Yo, where the hell's your brother at?" And I never knew he had a twin. Whatever. So it's pretty cool, like experiencing different things in this realm, and then I'm learning from all three of you guys, because I always learn from the hip hop community and the rap. It was always mainstream, and then now it's bringing me back to the beats and to the rhymes, and I'm just learning now freaking cadence and rhymes, which is like I never thought about. But it's fun, to do with you guys, and that's what we do. What we do is we're gonna fact check people. We're gonna put them in check, and that's our thing. You know what I mean? We're gonna be the behind the scenes guys, and we're gonna roll with that, and we're gonna make it happen.
That's what I'm talking about. This is my family, folks. All of it. And nah, fluid. Cam, blood don't mean nothing. No offense, fluid. But nah, for real. This is what it's about. A brotherhood. Don't matter. Black, white, Hispanic,
Other.
Asian, doesn't matter. So when music is taken into question, I'm doing music with Anon. I'm doing music Fluid on the beat is how we do it in the streets. Sue Mecca came up with that back in 06. 06. Shout out to Queens, Sue Mecca.
Bro, I feel you.
I can fact check you, but that was 07 though.
He got you.
Fact checking and ready. Look at that. Adlibs.
Yeah, Mecca's really nice though, man. I remember you first let me hear Mecca out in Afghanistan, and what was that? That Mardi Gras song he did. Bruh, everybody who's heard that song, and that's what the music is about. Because even me just thinking about the song, it made me feel so good. I still haven't yet to meet this man in person, but I even threw his name in a rhyme scheme out of respect for the bodies of work that I heard from him.
Yes, sir. Mecca 2.
Bruh.
Mecca 2, he could spit a rhyme.
Spit a rhyme or two, thought you knew. But I am a little disappointed in you that it took this project for you to finally, truly get a taste of what Fluid does. Because that man nice, bro. That man nice.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, man. I just tried.
A little more than try.
But no, this is really what, see, this is the joy of music. Like, I take somebody like Cam, I've known Cam now, shoot, bro, we creeping up on almost a year, man, since we started this project and this process. And there were some growing pains. You bring a feeling from the listener side that says what we're doing is the right thing. You know what I mean?
Appreciate that.
Yeah, don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. Anon said to me, back in Afghanistan, you're gonna mess with me, you gotta kick a freestyle. Yes, sir. We even had Cam on a freestyle. We're gonna have him on a mixtape in a minute. Watch.
I did it once.
Fluid right a little bit too. He's still holding the heat, golden teeth.
I say ghost though. Somebody else would submit that. I'll write a hook though.
Drake, where you at? Fluid on the beat. That's how we do it in the streets. And here on Beyond the Reverb, that's just how we do.
You a fool, bro.
Man, it's been a good ride this time. Been a good ride. I enjoyed this. We got to do this more often.
Yes, sir. I definitely agree. I think we got something for them people to hear, man. Really.
Them name the tracks.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, we made a song with something for the people back in the day.
This is for the people.
Tracy.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
But man, healing, man. You healed today, brother?
I've been healed. Been healed. Right now, I'm next to Achilles. I'm attached to the heel. Nah, I'm just playing. Go ahead. Man.
Bro, it's just one of those things, man. I just, I appreciate you, as a brother, from where we came from.
Yeah.
To where we're trying to go. We getting a little old in the game. Hip hop, somebody said not too long ago, has entered new territory because the greats are just now getting old. And we've typecast ourselves as a young man's game, as if us old guys still can't, bring that spit.
Yeah.
And we see Busta Rhymes, extinction level event too. Like, come on.
Best
now.
album of the year, 2020.
You see what I'm saying? You got Jay, he's still spitting that fire. Jada still spitting that fire. Styles P doing his thing. And plus he, you know, taking youngster Dave East alongside with him. You know, they doing their thing. You know, all these artists are still DMX.
Rest in peace.
Rest in
You didn't
peace,
say it,
bro.
I was saying it.
Bruh, you know, still spitting that fire. It's, you know, we are here and we ain't going nowhere. We have arrived. 100%, bro. We have arrived.
That's what I'm talking about. And we ain't going nowhere. That was a fluid beat. That was like 2011. And that's funny. We're just name dropping like every beat, every fact. This is too funny. But on a serious note, healing and growing as a community is very, very important. There has to be a level of understanding. People get down on their luck. People got things going on in their life. We all have to come together. If we don't, we're lost. I'm not going to get into political rant or anything, but you're seeing it today in this country. People are losing their mind, trying to figure out who to listen to, who's right, who's wrong. This thing about music. We do music. I'm speaking for myself. I do music for me. If other people happen to like it, good for you. But it's a healing tool. It's a tool, and I know how to use it. Anon, because I'm wise most. I can't spit the rest, you know, there's the element of surprise. I'm gonna go back into my childhood, late childhood, junior year track. I had a sprinting coach that said, "Hey, you think you done? You ain't never done." And he said, every person on that track team, no matter what you did, squeeze your hand hard as you can. Squeeze it. And we all did it, just like I'm doing now. Squeeze your hand. Squeeze it harder. Squeeze it harder. Keep going. Don't quit. Squeeze it harder. Squeeze it harder until you can't squeeze no more. And that became our motto. And then some. That's what that means. You think you've done, you're not. You have the fortitude to rise above yourself. Rise above the things going on around you. Rise above the things you hear, the negative influences, such as like the news or some idiot politician. Think for yourself. Grow for yourself. Because nobody's going to do it for you. Nobody.
Definitely understand you, brother. And that's just reality. I saw a quote not too long ago. My friend, she scratched out part of it. I'm not going to even butcher it. But she said, in layman's terms, putting the effort in and you work hard for the results. Not for something to be handed to, but for the results. And that's what it's about. And so music is just that thing that I believe is going to allow us to take off and break down all the walls, all barriers, and just help us transcend to just something that we haven't even yet to see yet, bro. So that's where I'm at, man. You know, it's just one of those things that I don't know where you take this music, but I know where I'm going with the music. And I know the people I want to reach when I truly take the time to truly express and start to educate, because I want to go bigger than just what I've been doing as a solo artist, but actually to be that facilitator and that educator that allow people to do things that are greater than what they are. That's pretty much where I'm at, man. I don't even know what else to say about it, man.
It's all good. It's all good. So, this is what Beyond the Reverb is. This is what we're about. Communities. Growing as a community. Helping yourself. Helping others. Getting that little understanding. Because you look at all the isms. Sexism, racism, any kind of ism. Ism comes out of fear. Believe in yourself. And those who are patient, it'll come. Just gotta believe in yourself. And on that note, this is Beyond the Reverb. I appreciate everything. Anon, appreciate you, brother. The family, for real.
Yes, sir.
I'm DBrklyn.
I'm Anon.
And we out.